So today we'll talk about how to use Ansible for NAS, for CIFS and NFS. Okay. So I know you guys are aware about the steps, the manual steps for the NAS CIFS. Okay. So we'll install the Ansible and the netapp.ontap collection, and then we'll run some playbooks for ontap. Okay. And then also we'll explore the ad hoc commands of netapp, and we also explore the ONTAP facts. Okay, so let me just start. 1 second. What's this? Battery. So we are already aware that in order to use Ansible, we need the Python library, and we also need the Ansible Galaxy. Okay, because Ansible Galaxy is having all the modules and collections to manage the NetApp environment. Okay, so we have the modules for storage grid, we have the modules for Azure NetApp files, we also have the modules for Cloud Volume for AWS, and also on-premise storage. Okay, so we have all these things. We have REST API and also Zappy. Okay, but 1 second. Okay, REST API and Zappy. Okay, so but Zappy we used to use before 9.6. Before 9.6, like 9.5, 9.4, 8.7, so we used to use Zappy, but now we use REST API. Okay, so let me just do that. Let me install the Ansible. So I'm opening that Linux server. The host name is Ansible. I'm using the user Ansible, which is having the sudo privilege. Tab. So I am here. Okay, so we have to install the packages that is required for Ansible, the RPM packages. Okay, so let me use the yum command. Sudo we have to use because we want this user to become root when you run this, right? So need to do that. Okay, the domain is the environment, Python, a lot of things we need to install. These we are needing the database authentication, all these things we need for the CIFS. Station. We have to give the password for Ansible, because when you use the sudo command, right, we need to give the password, and it also has to have the sudo privilege. Whatever. Loaded privileges. Okay. So here we are using that SSH pass package, right? So this SSH pass is the package which will enable us, whenever we are running command in the Ansible, right, it will not give us any prompt. Okay, and here we are also using the KRB package, right, KRB. So this will help us to do Kerberos authentication on Linux. Okay, so that the Ansible host can use the AD to manage the Windows host. Okay, so that's what I said, for the CIFS, for the AD, we need the guarded authentication. Okay, so these are all we need. Let us do that. Let us wait for some time. And here also we install the PEEP, right? So PEEP is whenever you want to install something, it's a like installation manager which you normally use. So we are installing that. Okay, and also we install the Python 3.5 3.6 we installed here. Okay, so we need this. For Ansible, Python is also required. Okay, so let us wait. Okay, so it is installed. Fine. Okay, and we also need to install GCC and other software development tools. Okay, so yum install development sudo. Okay, okay, no problem. So it says that already everything is installed. That is fine. It's okay. Okay, so we have installed this Ansible and everything. Okay, so we also need to install the Python 3. So have you installed Python 3? I don't think we have installed it. We have installed Python 3. Okay, it's already installed. No, it's needed to perform this command sudo. Okay, it's already installed. Okay, it's already installed. So let us check what Python we have installed. Yum list, we need to check the install packages. Okay, Python 3. Have you installed the PEEP or not? That is fine. That is fine. That's fine. Now there is a catch. Okay, so whenever we want to do something, right, we can do either using root or Ansible, but we want to use the Ansible user. Okay, we want to use the Ansible user. We want that PEEP3, that PEEP or PEEP3, this package installer to be to be used by the Ansible user. Okay, so let us do that. PEEP3 we need to install using the Ansible user. Okay, and the Ansible user home directory, it should be there. Install Ansible. So using this 2.9.7 Ansible using. So this Ansible package will be in the Ansible's home directory. Okay, so we're doing this. Okay. Now we need to install the NetApp library that is required. Going on. Okay, it's done. Okay, so we have installed the NetApp library, that is fine, and we also need to install the NetApp module, like NetApp.ontime module, right? The collection module we need to install. Okay, so we will get it from the Ansible Galaxy only. It's not coming. Collection spelling is correct. Install NetApp. Okay, so we have installed it. Okay, so we are installing this package to here, so in the home directory of the Ansible user. Okay, fine. Okay. Now we have to check the carburetor's authentication file, using which we are going to enable that carburetor authentication. Okay. If you do not use, AD, then it's not required. But if you're using AD, Active Directory, then it is required. Okay. So let us check the file. It will be in user home directory only. ls space -la cd etc cd/etc ls. Oh, there are a lot of files will be there. ls space -lrt. Let me just increase the size a bit. Yeah. Grave -i arb star. It's a directory. So we are trying to check the Kerberos authentication. Okay. So this is the file we have. Okay. So here you can see all the context. Okay. So the main important thing that will that will check, or that we have to think about this, this portion. Okay, this portion, the realm. Okay. So here the realm is demo.netapp.com, but in your case, as per the project, the demo would be different. You have to add the demo, the domain would be different, so you have to add the domain here. Okay. If it's a host, right, the host.domain name will be there, right? So it's like the domain name you have to add. Yeah, like this. Okay. You have to change it here. So as per your ADs, as per your domain, you have to add it here. Okay. And suppose, for CIFS, you have to connect with the Windows also, right? So you have to, you cannot do SSH to Windows Server, right? So you have to use the WinRM module. Okay. WinRM module you have to use. So that's the reason, you have to install that WinRM module. Okay. So let me install that. We can either install yum, either install using yum package installer, or RPM, or pip. Okay. So we use pip here. I will do everything on user's home directory. You want this WinRM module greater than some versions. Okay. You are using the Ansible user for this. Okay. So anyway, so it's going on. Let's going on. Okay, so it's done successfully. Install this. Fine. So we installed all the software that is required. Now let us check the Ansible version. It's okay, 2.9.7. Okay, which we intended. Okay. Now let us check whether the Ansible setup is working or not. So the best way to check is just to use the ad hoc command ping. Just use the ping module using the ad hoc command. No need to use any playbooks. Okay, so let us check that. You should get pong. Yes, ping pong. Yes, because anyway we did not mention an inventory or whether we have added the host and all. So it was only pinging to the local host, which is this machine only, and it gave the result to ping as pong. Okay, ping pong. So it's a success. That's a good one. Okay, because this inventory is there, right? Host under that like inventory file, there is a host, right? Under the inventory to there's a host, right? So if you do not mention anything, then it will only ping to the local host. Okay, local host. Now here we already checked that the NetApp Ansible, right? So whenever you use this, right, to create playbooks, we basically use Ansible like NetApp modules, which we get in Ansible Galaxy. Okay, and these modules are of two types. One is REST API, and other is Zappy. REST API. Okay, on-tap REST API. Let's say on-tap REST API. Another one is Zappy. Okay, Zappy. So the Zappy was available older versions, older than 9.5, older or like equal to the 9.5. Okay, and this on-tap REST API came after 9.6. Okay. Okay, so these are the things are there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to copy the playbook, okay, from that GitHub. Okay, we'll clone the GitHub repository into the home directory of Ansible user. We'll do that. Okay, so you can see here, whenever you log into any of the Unix machine, right, and you see a tilde symbol, that means, this tilde symbol, that means you are in home directory of the user. Okay. So there is, when you create when you use GitHub, right, you'll have branches, all these things. Okay, so you can, there is a 1 hour course. It's not record actually, but if you want, there is a 1 hour course in Udemy for Git. You can just study that. Okay, you'll see how to create repositories, branches, and all these things. We use Git because we want to keep the versions, and it's also for documentation purpose. So suppose you let's say you want to do something, you have you have placed the playbooks in your GitHub, you are editing it there and giving it versions, and then you are pulling it like from here, from GitHub only, from the machine, from the Linux server, and then you can use those things. So you are not actually doing these things in the net, in the Linux server itself, but on the GitHub. Okay, which becomes easy to keep comments and all these things. Okay, 106. So this is the branch number. There's a main branch and public, private, lot of things are there in GitHub. Anyway, so then you have to give the GitHub URL, your own GitHub repository. You have to give. If you make any of the repository public, then anyone can download and use that. Okay, but if you make it private, then only you can use this. They will ask for password and you need to give. Okay, and you need to install Git also in Linux. Then only you can run this command Git. Otherwise you cannot run. Okay, you need to install Git package. Just let me get away. These people are a lot of, they have no knowledge, but they still disturb. Second. So here what we did, we are copying this, copying the contents from this branch, which is, this is the URL. Okay, and then what we did, we are copying it where we are copying the on-tap directory. Okay, that's what we did. Okay, we copied it to the ONTAP directory. So let us go to the ONTAP directory. One second, first let me do ls cd ONTAP ls again. So you have this YML files, okay, display books you have, okay, display books you have, okay. So let us just check one by one. So first check how to create the volume. I need to, one second, I need to just go to notification center. One second, I need to mute these notifications. No play sound, no play sound. Don't show previews, don't show previews. Create volume using goal, create volume for line. This one I'll check. So you can check here, okay. So basically in this playbook, this is a playbook we're using, right? The collection model is, you know that whenever we run the command, we don't want any facts to be gathered on this localhost, right? We don't want that because localhost is the host, right? So we don't want that. So what we do is, okay, let me just get offline. I think probably I don't know, still I'm getting messages. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever we want to running this playbook, right, it will gather the facts of the localhost, which is host a localhost, right? We don't want any facts to be gathered about that Linux machine, okay? We don't want that to be gathered and displayed, okay? We don't want that. So that's why you gather facts as false, okay? The name is here the localhost we're using, right? Okay. So 1 second. So it is in the localhost, right? So here what we are doing, we are basically giving the localhost, okay, instead of the name of the target ONTAP cluster. Why? Because ONTAP Ansible module, they use API to manage the ONTAP host, okay? So they are using this localhost as a helper host to invoke the API that can do the stuff in ONTAP cluster, okay? Here this Ansible host is nothing but the control node, okay, and this is basically acting as a helper. This is just working as a mediator, that's all. It is invoking the API, REST APIs or ZAPI, okay. And as I already said, we don't want this host, like the facts to be gathered. It's a local host, we don't want anything to be gathered, okay, because we are here, our intention is to work on ONTAP cluster, not on Linux, okay. So that's why and also if we keep gather facts as yes, right, it will take considerable amount of time and display the information about this Linux server, which you don't want, okay. Now you see here create volume stuff, create volume, we see the variables, different variables that we are going to use here, okay. We see here host name, so this is the host name, okay, that this is the host name, this is ONTAP cluster 2 where we want to run the commands, where we want to create the volume, and the username is this, password is this, okay, and the HTTPS is true. It means that whether it should use that SSL certificate or not, like it should validate the SSL certificate or not. If you are using single sign SSL certificate and then you are using Mozilla browser, right, then it will show you some error like it's not secure, it's not a secure connection, and you have to accept the risk and continue, right? So we don't want that error to pop up. That's okay. So that's why we give the validate certificate true, okay. It's not a problem, okay. So you want to use this SSL, okay. So basically whenever we are creating ONTAP cluster, right, you know that in Occam when you add that ONTAP cluster, you know, and we have to check whether the SSL certificate is not expired. If it's expired, then we will not be able to add the add the ONTAP cluster on the Occam, okay. So SSL certificate is very much required. Whenever we are creating a new cluster, what ONTAP will do, it will automatically generate a self-signed certificate. Why it will do that? Because it has to initiate the HTTP access to the system manager, and then only we can access in the GUI, right? Okay, and if you do not have any certificate, if you it cannot validate the authenticity of the self-signed certificate, right? So what it will do, because self-signed certificate cannot be validated by the Mozilla or Google Chrome, right? So what it will do, it will render this web browser will render these certificates as insecure. Okay, and it will this I mean the validation test, right, it will fail. Okay, so that's why if you give it false, so it will bypass the checks for the self-signed certificate. If you give it true, then it will try for this this thing, it will bypass. Okay, so that's what you do. So here already they are having the SSL certificates, the CA signed SSL certificate, so that's why using true. Otherwise, if it does not have CA certified, I mean CA signed certified certificate, then what you need to do, like if you're using self signed certificate, we need to make this validate certs as false. Okay, we need to make the validate certs as false. Okay, okay. And now here you can see these are the variables, that is fine. This is the task, actually the task name we are giving, and this is the NA underscore, this is the module that you're using, NA underscore ontap underscore to start here, but you can give a wildcard also. So these are the module using here. State present, what does it mean? State present means it will, what it will do, it will create the volume. Okay, it will create the volume. Okay, and here what we have, here it's using, this is like a Jinja 2 template, so this is a placeholder. It is actually hold the value of the variable where the variable is there, it's under this variable context, right, this one, so it will take this one. Okay, and this one, so like this, from here it will take all these things. Okay, all this information from the var, this var play, it will take all these things. Okay, so we do not need to repeat the host name, username, password. We can just give the placeholder, this second bracket and the variable name inside the quotation mark, and we can use the variables. Okay, in NetApp ONTAP, NA underscore ONTAP underscore volume. Okay, we can do that. Okay, so this is what we do. And what this we are doing is, name is finance, that means it will create a volume named finance, and v server is SVM5, means the v server, the volume will be created on SVM5 v server, and it will take this aggregate. Okay, where it will be created, size is 5 GB, and the junction path will be /finance. We are already aware that for NAS part, junction path is very much important, because everything that is there, right, the junctions has to be junctioned into the, mounted into the root namespace. Okay, but in case of SAN, we really do not require junction path for iSCSI and FC, but for CIFS and NFS, junction path is very much required. Okay, we can do that. Okay, so let us check another file. Okay, this is one more file, so which I can easily create this thing. Okay, let us check another file. So here this is create volume alt one. Okay, so this is another file here. Okay, same thing, localhost, same collection module, gather facts false. Here we have a variable file, variable, the vars block, right, we have the vars block here. Okay, so here we have a declaration of this variable, ONTAP variable. Okay, and the value that is assigned to this is a dictionary, so this is a key and this is a value. So the value that is assigned on this key, ONTAP key, is ampersand ONTAP. Okay, so basically ampersand is nothing but, this is a YML anchor matching the label, the YML, this label is like ONTAP label, it is matching. Okay, so this string what is matching, right, so ampersand ONTAP, so it will match this, right. Here the variable and the anchor name we both set to the same value, but in project you can set it to different values also. Okay, the name of the variable is not that important. Okay, so what is doing, this ONTAP dictionary is having a key value pairs. Okay, so that's what it will do. Okay, now here If you see, we'll give that host name, username, password, HTTPS, all these things we talked about in previous playbook. Then we gave a task. In the task, what we did, we are mentioning the module name NA underscore ontap underscore volume, and then we are mentioning state as present. If you want to create something, you have to keep in Ansible state equal to present. If you want to delete something, you have to keep absent. Okay, so that's what you give. And suppose the volume already exists and you gave present, it is a omnipotent idempotent. So what it does, if it's already there, it will not create again. Okay, it will not create again, similar to Terraform. Okay, if the infrastructure is already having the required things that you intend to create using the playbook, and if you already exist, then it will not, the playbook will not run, it will fail. Okay, so here in the create volume task, in the create the finance volume task, okay, we have one more thing. Apart from vServer aggregate size, we have junction path and then this another thing. Okay, so here what is doing, this whatever contents we get, on tab, right, on tab alias, right, so it is going to insert. Okay, this star is nothing but a YML alias. Okay, so basically what is doing, this star is followed by a label, and that will match the anchor, YML anchor, okay, declared in the same file. Okay, it will match that. Okay, so YML, this YML alias, these aliases, these are not feature of Ansible, these are feature of YML. Okay, and this is only applicable in this is only scope, or scope to this file only. Outside of the file, it does not exist. Okay, okay, so let me just do that. So here we cannot pass these, this YML alias in other files. Okay, like we can use some task and we can import the task and everything, but we cannot import that these alias names in other files. Okay, we cannot do that. Okay, so let us just create the volumes. Okay, let us do that. First, what we will do, first this volume is there, right? So let us do this Ansible playbook cluster 2 underscore create volume dot YML, enter. Wait a second, okay, it's fine. Okay, it's okay. So Zappy has been depreciated, that we know. We already said that ONTAP API, ONTAP REST API, these are actually the latest one. Okay, so here we have given this thing, OK equal to 1, changed equal to 1. If you get OK equal to 1, changed equal to 0, that means it's already exist. If you get changed equal to, means it is created, it is successfully created. Okay, how do you check that? We log into NetApp cluster 2. Enter. Yes, it's a very good command, go 0. Now we need to check the volume, and the volume we need to check under ASVM5 only. Okay, so let me go there, vServer, this. Okay, so we check that the finance volume is created, 5 GB mentioned, it is created. Okay, and if you're not mentioning anything, anybody knows by default whether it will be a thick LAN or thin LAN? Anybody knows? Thick on thin? GUA.
Thin.
Yes, it will be thin only. Okay, and what about the percentage of the snapshot reserve space? What will be the percentage by default of the snapshot reserve space?
5%.
Exactly, yeah. Snapshot. Skip snapshot. is anyway, it will be 5% only, that's fine. You have to calculate that to 5%. Not a problem. So let us go to the second file, which is this one. One second. No, I mean NetApp. I mean NetApp. Okay. Here we are creating finance only. Yes. Here we are creating finance. Fine. So we already have finance. Again, we are trying to create finance. So this should fail actually because we cannot have the volume with same names. Okay. So they should fail. So Ansible playbook. Let me just copy from here. I don't want to type it again. OK equal to 0, that is fine. Change equal to 0. Okay. So here what is happening? It knows that the volume already exists. Okay. That's why it gives OK equal to 1, but it did not change anything. Okay. It did not change anything. Okay. So that's what it did. Okay. As you already created the finance volume on SVM5, okay, we did not this playbook did not create any volume. Okay, did not create any volume. Okay, so let me check some other thing. Okay, so basically the thing is, so we use this playbook, right? Okay, in the playbook we mention this host name, username, credentials directly in the playbook, right? But it can become burdensome. Okay, you remember Ansible vault, right? So Ansible vault, we can encrypt the playbook. Okay, and also what we can do, we can move the variable declaration from the playbook into the inventory, into one of the inventories. Okay, we can do that, and then we can refer to this inventories. Okay, so we can define the variables in in this file, right? Okay, so but we can also use inventories and we can have it there. Okay, but this thing, that is fine, but this thing cannot cross the boundaries, this string and this this YML alias, right? It cannot cross the boundaries. It cannot be referenced from, suppose we are writing the code, in other file we are writing the playbook, we are referencing this playbook there, but we cannot like this file there, but we cannot really use this this YML alias outside the YML file. Okay, we cannot really do that. Okay, so let us check more examples. Yes, so let us check. So we can let us inspect a file while put the credentials. Let's inspect a YML file. So here we are putting the credentials, right? So you know that whenever you are creating a file, the first thing that you need to give is 3 dots, right? 3 dashes, right? You have to give. Okay, this is what it is, how we start the YML file. So here we are giving the host name, username, password, HTTPS and valid certificates. All these things we are giving, and this is only we can give if we have the SSL certificate, CA signed SSL certificate. Otherwise, if you have a self-signed certificate, then you should give it as false. Otherwise, when you run the playbook, right, it will go to the console, it will throw an error like it's not secured, and it will not go past it. Like it will become, you have to you have to accept the risk, right? So this playbook will not run. Okay, so here what we see that credentials and the connection parameters here, right? For the cluster 2, we can see that we can create the same for the other cluster also. Okay, now let us check another file. Okay, so here there is a difference between this file and that file. Okay, so what is the difference? here variable, right? So here in the playbook we did not mention the variables directly. We did not mention the credentials directly or the cluster management leaf, a fully qualified domain name. Okay, we did not mention it. Okay, we just mentioned the variable files cluster2.yml which I showed, right? So what we are doing, we are sourcing the file here where we have the target clusters credentials. Okay, this playbook is using the vars underscore files and it is loading the contents from the cluster2.yml. Okay, so and here we're using the vars. Okay, so this is var block we're using. This is global variable, not a local variable. We're using it here. Okay, and here also we're using this on type dictionary like previously because we want to use that this anchor. Okay, and then what we are doing here, we are just using the variable, right? We are trying to get the variables from that file, right? So we're using the ginger2 template, using the it is using the as a variable placeholder. Use that we have to use a quotation and the second brackets. Okay, so that's what we're using here. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are maintaining the on tap credential and connection variables in some other file and importing them in the playbook. So it is not like, you know, anybody who's just seeing this file, right? It cannot really do anything because this is in different file. And there is one more additional security you can provide. What you can do is you can do Ansible vault in this cluster2 file. So cluster2 file, you can encrypt this file. So when somebody is trying to see the file, right, they will not see the password. Only the admin will know the password, not the, if somebody is helping you to the automation, right, so that person will not know. Okay, only the admin is knowing that password. Okay, so that you can do. You can use Ansible vault command here on this file. Okay, you can use that, you can run this. I've shown you Ansible vault in one of my sessions. You can go to the recording sessions. Okay, I've shown you there for Ansible vault. Okay, and I've also showed you that when I see the or list the contents of the playbook, I only see encrypted things. I cannot read out like it's machine readable, not human readable. Okay, so this file, this putting the passwords in a file is very important. We are centrally maintaining the credentials and the connection variables. Connection variables are which one? HTTPS and valid certificate. These are connection variables. This is REST API connection it is making HTTPS, and this is just checking whether the SSL certificate is like self-signed or CS signed or not, CS certified or not. Okay, very easily used thing. Okay, it's not a problem. So if you just run this thing, right, so what it will do, again finance is there, so again it will fail. Okay, again it will fail. So let us write this Ansible playbook. Just click on here. Okay, equal to 1. Yeah, that is fine. So because we have this file is finance again, but if you just change it, right, so instead of cat you give vy and just change it and just give an I and go here, change the name of the file as finance1 and also change the junction path finance1 escape and :wq. Just do that. Okay, and then list the content of the file using the cat. You guys are already aware, right, that in order to create a file you can use the touch command, touch command, touch test. Okay, so it will create a empty file, empty 0 KB file. Okay, there will be no content. Okay, so here there I have renamed that file name and the junction path. So let me, here a lot of other things also you can give. Instead of this you can give the security style. If you're using CIFS you have to use the security style as NTFS. If you're using NFS then it should be Unix. If you're using both, like you want to create a share, CFS share and also NFS export on the same volume, then you can use mixed type of security style. Okay, so those things you can do. So let me see this thing. I can see here finance one, that is fine. Let me run the playbook again. Okay, wait a second. Yeah, you see here changed equal to 1. Now if you go to the here, 1 second, we go to the cluster 2 on tap cluster and just list out the volumes that is holded on this, that is on this SVM5. This is the root volume which will have the root namespace slash, and this will create automatically when you create the V server. It will give an option for that, and then these are the volumes, data volumes that you have created. This is a root volume and this is a data volume. If you lose the root volume, that there is a command, you need to create the same size volume, 20 MB size volume, and there is a command vs root, using which you can make a normal volume as a V server root volume. Node root volume is different. I'm talking about V server root volume. Okay. Okay. So basically, 1 second. So basically, whatever I do, I'm using this collection module netapp.ontap, under which everything is there. Okay, even CVO also we can do using Ansible, but normally people will prefer to do using Terraform. Okay. Here I do not have the setup, but I will still explain the CVO. I'll try to find out the modules and try to explain to you. Okay, the CVO, because I work in GCP, so I will try to explain to you. Okay. So we already know that if you want to use the Ansible playbooks, then the most important thing that you have to have is this collection modules. Okay, where it is, this collection modules. Okay, so we need to check, we can check how many collection modules are available using the documentation of Ansible. Ansible doc command. Okay, it's a ad hoc command. Ansible -doc -list, it will give list out the thing. Okay, I can, grep is a search keyword. You can use grep when you are using Unix, and if you are using on a Windows server you cannot really have on Ansible control node, because there is some other thing you need to install for that. It is possible, but some other thing you need to install, so better use Linux only. But even if using Windows, so you have to give the command find str. Grep is for Unix, and find str is for Windows. Okay, I forgot the full form grep. I do not remember that. Okay, I used to remember this, but I don't remember it anymore. NA_ontap. So this is nothing but the pipe symbol. So what it is doing, whatever thing is there, right, it is actually whatever it is filtering out with this. Okay, and then I just want to see the watt count. Watt count -l means how many watts are there, how many NetApp modules are there. Okay, so let me do that. 78. So we have 78 modules, and I want to check them. What are those 78 modules? So I'll just remove the word count and just check. So these are the ones that is available. Okay, these are the ones that is available. Okay, we have currently 78 modules. Okay, if you want to check more informations about a volume, like a man page, like here, if you give man ls, right, so it will give you that informations about the ls command, right? It will give, right? You can see. I'll just quit it. Okay, anyway it will be read on here. Okay, so to check the same for that Ansible modules, the NetApp modules, what you can do is you can use this command. Okay, and you just check one. So we have this collection modules of dot we have to use. So we have to give the collection name. Okay, first the namespace name. Okay, so in Ansible doc, right, so we know that the collection Ansible connection is netapp.ontap. So okay, so netapp.ontap is there. Okay, so we have to give netapp.ontap. Okay, ontap the collection module, and then we have to give the modules. Okay, the module name we have to give. Suppose we want to give the module for Q trees. So you can get everything here. Okay, you can get all this information here. Okay. Okay, go more, go more, go more. These are the information you can see. So whenever you want to create this for the Qt, right? REST API Qt. So these are the topics. Sorry, these are the blocks it is having. HTTPS. You can see enable, disable HTTPS. You can see here, right? So REST only HTTPS certified. HTTPS support is supported. You can see here. Okay, you can see. Go here. Security style. You can see Unix NTFS mixed. You can see here, right? State present absent, you can see default is present, you can see this thing. Okay, if you need the name mapping that you need to do, then you use Unix group and all these things. Name mapping is a Windows user wants to access the NFS export in Unix, or a Unix user wants to access the CFS share on Windows. Okay, so name mapping like Windows to Unix mapping, okay, or Unix to Windows mapping. So that is required. So if it will have this, so wider certs, when you have the substance certificate, you have to set it false. Mm, all these things will be there. Okay, you can see this is a basically an example of how to create queue trees. Q stands for quota. It's just my partition of volumes. Okay, to set limit of quota on a particular volume, you need to create queue trees. When you create a share and queue trees in the and log into the Windows where it's mapped, then queue trees will look at as subfolder only in the naked eye of a Unix admin or a client. They will see as a subfolder, but it's actually queue tree. Quota trees. Okay, quota trees. There are three type of quotas in queue tree: user quota, group quota, and tree quota. Tree quota is size wise, size specific. Okay, and user is user specific. Like you have domain users, you want to give every domain user 5 GB, and group is like you have 10 users in a group, and those groups will be given permissions or like 5 GB or something, whatever you set up. Okay, so that's you do. Okay, so today we'll talk about more about this. Okay, so sorry, not today, tomorrow we'll talk more about this. Okay, so today we'll close it here. So guys, any questions?
No.
All right, so tomorrow we'll do more better thing. Okay, and slowly we'll progress NFS, CIFS, SAN, then IPSI SCSI, then S3, then performance analysis slowly, and then we'll go to SVMDR, and then Hitachi, PowerMax, then Pure, then Brocket Sense Switch, and CV also I will try to do, but not with Terraform, but with Ansible. Okay, we'll not finish the training until unless these things are covered. Okay, and then after taking a break, we'll start again next batch. So I'm thinking this will take another month probably. Okay, this will take another month. So let's see. So tomorrow we'll have the session at 8:30, and please read all the sessions that I'm giving. And if you need more content, let me know. I can provide more
Yeah.
content here. Okay?
There one thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I wanted to know, like I discussed, I think before also. So after like I have my NetApp lab created. Okay, the cluster is created. I have a Linux server as well on which all the modules are installed.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this week, if you have time any day, let me know. Just this
Yes. You
connectivity
can
needs
share
to
your screen
be
and we can try.
established.
Yeah, we can try together. Yeah. So we can try
Yeah.
tomorrow. Tomorrow I have two trainings. Two trainings tomorrow. Day after tomorrow.
Not
Let's try day
tomorrow.
after
Yeah,
tomorrow. Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, any day.
Day after
Once you
tomorrow.
have time.
Or Saturday, Sunday will be much better because Saturday, Sunday I don't
Yeah,
have
this
office.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday is my off. So
Yeah, we
these
can
three
do
days,
it. Saturday,
any day
Sunday
we
we
can
can go.
do.
It's not a problem. And we'll
Okay.
also pull other guys in. First we'll try and we'll do it, and then we'll help other guys also. So that
Okay.
we are on same page. But we can only do with NetApp. We do not have any simulator for Hitachi, unfortunately.
No,
Pure
no,
also, I don't think
Hitachi.
it's.
I don't know. I only
Yeah.
have an app,
Okay,
so
okay,
we
then
can do
good,
that.
good. Hitachi
Yeah.
also, the playbooks are much easier compared to NetApp. It's very easy. The playbook is easy to understand. NetApp also easy, but NetApp is
Hmm.
having lot of options. You can do lot of things. Ops log, All these things you can do, name mapping, all these things like Unix to Windows, lot of things you can do. You can also do regex expression also in your tab. Like when you are doing Unix to Windows and Windows to Windows mapping, right? You can give regex expressions, regular expressions. You can just give wildcard. Okay, those things you can give wildcard, and some other pattern matching you can do. Okay, that I took a class
Mm,
on that on L3. So you can see, right? So lot of things are there in NetApp, but Hitachi is very simple. It's very simple. Hitachi and PowerMax, very simple.
mm.
Okay,
Do
unfortunately I
you
did not have knowledge in Iceland, otherwise I would have shown you Iceland.
Do you have any documentation where like it's just the process of like is creating the initial configuration between a tab and a Linux server, like how they will interact with each other, and how do we run the basic commands from the Linux server to on the tab? Do you have any documentation for that?
Yeah, I have something, so I
Any
will check
step?
and share with you. Okay, share with you all. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay,
it's easy
okay,
only. So you just have to install the package. We'll do it together tomorrow, not tomorrow. Sorry, on Saturday or Sunday. But please remind me. Please just ping me. Okay. And one more thing here, anybody is having issue with access? There was one guy, Atra, not Atra. I forgot his name, bro. So I fixed his issue on DK and this guy. Okay, but a fixed issue on that, and again next day he came to come to me saying that he is having issues. I really did not understand because it was fixed, so I don't know how he's accessing. So anyway, 1 second is there, so we'll talk tomorrow. Okay, it will expire this free teams. 5 second.
okay, okay.
Okay, just chalo, bye bye, bye bye. No, it is not expiring. That's good. That's good. It's a new record, bro. I don't know why it's not expiring. Okay, good, good. Normally it expires. Okay, no issues, bro. So we'll have the session tomorrow. Okay. I think the NAS part will take like 2 weeks probably. I'm thinking. No issues.
Okay.
We'll complete. Okay. Okay. Chalo. Bye. Huh? Bye.
Bye.